We have a special guest in the studio today, Coach Shu.
Woo!
Coach Shu, welcome back to the studio. It's good to have you.
I'm glad to be here. I always enjoy. I was in makeup earlier, and she took care of me. I like your makeup lady. She's awesome. So yeah, always good to be here.
She's a good time. She got my makeup right. She got my beard looking okay. Adam, how does it feel to be sitting next to the legend over there?
I'm just surprised we have a makeup artist. But yeah, no, I love.
Adam's like, where is
Yeah.
this makeup artist?
Run with the joke, would you? I mean, her name's Tina. She's amazing.
It's the glare on my head. You got to get it just right. Otherwise, it's
No,
very-
I love having you.
very
It's always a fun time.
Yeah.
And then we have to my left. He's in the new big chair, Tony. Tony, how's the cozy chair over there, buddy?
I'm kind of like a backup quarterback this week.
Yeah, he's just not as good behind you, right?
Yeah, but they make a lot of money, and they don't get to do that much, so I'm back here.
Backup quarterback has to be the dream. If you look at Joe Flacco, they're sitting
Alex Moran had it right in Blue Mountain
Honestly,
State. Backup
look,
QB
you
is
started
the
the
best
show
position.
pretty good, but we could work on it in the QB room.
Don't give advice like right in the middle of the play. Could you imagine the backup quarterback? Hey, yo, dude, I could have done that. Come on, dude.
It's like, come on, we went over this in practice. It's like, I already got it from Coach. Shut the hell up.
Anybody can take a three-step
Speaking
drop
of
and get
Coach,
sacked.
Coach Shu is here doing performance reviews. Okay, if we do not pass, we are no longer on the show.
Like I said before the show, the last performance review I had with Coach Shu, he told me not to shoot the basketball, and we were playing basketball. So hopefully this one's a little bit better. A good performance review would be a lot of league titles, a lot of sectional titles. Now 250 wins at the U. The one and only Matt Hoops.
What's up, guys?
Coach, how we doing today?
Doing all right.
Hell yeah. So, Coach, I wanted to talk. You guys are kind of on a nice little win streak here. You had that close one against Washington Courthouse. Didn't get pulled out now, but you just beat a very good Circleville team. Again, 250 wins, shout out. You guys have been kind of on a steamroll right before your Zane Trace game here this Tuesday. What's kind of been, you think, leading to the success to your team here recently?
I just think guys kind of buying into their roles a little bit more. And, you know, we talk all the time about playing to your strengths and not doing things that you can't do. Obviously, the other team's going to try to influence you in doing those things. And our guys are just really, you know, playing to their strengths and playing for one another a little bit more. And we, you know, after that Courthouse game, it was, you know, kind of a little bit of a come to Jesus meeting in terms of like, how do we want this to go? Because we were winning one, lose one, win one, lose one. And obviously that's not the way we want to be. And, you know, we just kind of sat down and we talked and we said, you know, our goals haven't changed. Everything we want's still in front of us. And, you know, we're just going to try to go 1-0 for the next 17 games and see what happens.
And I feel like one thing that's helping you out right now, Zeke Showblock, man. He has been lights out these past few games.
On animal.
Have you seen
Absolute
something
animal.
Like in practice, it just seems like a light bulb went off in his head. He was like, yeah, I'm just ready to take over.
Yeah, no, you know, Zeke has the potential to do that. And I think he's added to his game some where he's not just a three-point shooter anymore. If you close out hard on him, he can get to the rim and he's a little bit stronger and he can score now in the paint. And, you know, just he's been carrying us. So it's been good to see.
Now, we have you here. We said it a few times, 250 wins, right? You're in some good company and great coaches that you can go to. One being Ron Lovely, the great coach here, got to coach against. What is it? Has it kind of sat into you yet? Like, man, 250 wins, like that's not just a great accomplishment, that's a lot of memories at one school.
It's a lot of basketball games. You know, I can remember when I got this job in 2007. You know, kind of the vision you have is, you know, you want to build a successful program. You want to have a really good culture. You want to do all these things that make these guys not only good basketball players but good people. And you know, I'll be honest. After the first 3 seasons, we won 7 games my first year. We won 1 game my second year. We won 8 games my third year. We had 16 wins. I'm like, what am I doing? Newton and Blake were like 2 and 3 years old. I was never home. I was like, is this really something that you know, I want to continue doing? Because I just thought maybe I don't have it, you know, maybe I this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, but stayed with it. A lot of support from our administration, a lot of support from home with Christina and knew that we could get this thing turned around. And at the time I was teaching 4th grade, and I saw a lot of really good basketball players on the playground. And I thought, if I can just hang on till we get these guys, we'll get this thing turned around. And we did. So, but it wasn't easy early, I'll be honest. When I started this, I knew Cindy Driggs had 249 wins, and I thought, there's no way I'm getting that. That's going to take forever. That's going to take too long. And, she's one of the greatest coaches ever around here. And just to be mentioned in the same breath with her is an honor in itself.
And again, a lot of great success, a lot of deep tournament runs, longest streak in SBC history. So there's been a lot of stuff there. Gotta talk about the here and now, though. You guys have a big makeup game coming up tomorrow against Zane Trace. What has been, I know you had the Circleville game last week and everything, but I feel like it's hard not to see, starting last week, I guess, that this big game's coming up. What's the focus like been in practice? What's the preparation been like over there for the U this week?
Well, honestly, it's been kind of weird actually, because Thursday we ended up playing Circleville on Thursday last week, because we realized that the schedule had that game scheduled February 20th, which is in the middle of the first round of the sectionals. So we had to move that up to Thursday, and that was a big win for us. We always talk about when we play a Division II opponent, especially in our district, that it's a tournament game, and that was kind of the mindset we had going into that. So we kind of put all of our eggs into that basket and focused really hard on that and got that win. And to be honest, we were prepared to play Paint Valley the next night, but we get the snow, so that didn't happen. So. Well, I mean, at this time of the year, you're always wanting to prepare, but at the same time, it's also nice to give guys some time off because they've been going at it.
Boost. Get out there, go sledding, have some
Right.
fun.
I don't know. Both my kids got yelled at more than once for trying to go sledding at different times when I was highly against it. But no, you want them to have time off. You want them to, first of all, you want to keep them safe. You don't want them driving on bad roads. So gave them Friday and Saturday off, and then we came back in last night and started preparing for Zane Trace, and then had a really good practice today. The good thing is it's the second time through playing Zane Trace. We're pretty familiar with those guys, but so we kind of just felt like as a staff, it was more important to give our guys a day or two off, and and then they looked forward to coming into practice last night, which is what you want.
So, Coach, from one legendary coach to another, I think Coach Shu has a question for you.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm not going to tell the story of what you called me back in the '90s before.
See, this is how. Listen,
he
always
blamed somebody else, but it was
100%.
Anyway,
it was a situation where I was standing by the guilty party. We won't say who it was.
Anyway, this question is regarding your wife, Christina.
Uh-huh.
And my question is this: you're a father.
Mm-hmm.
And you were a coach. Is she a bigger fan of you or a bigger critic of you as a father and coach of your kids? You can't say both.
That's a great question. No,
Thank
that's
you.
a great
you
question.
thought it might be something else, I know.
That is probably the best. I could see your reaction on the screen. But yeah, that's probably the best question I've heard on this entire show, period. That's going to be a hard one to answer.
I cleared that
Just
with Clay before I asked you.
Drop the mic, Shu. Nah, she's both. It's really, I mean, I appreciate it too because she is supportive. Like I said, when I started this thing, actually when I started coaching, it's been 25 years, coaching at the lower levels for 6 years and then becoming a head coach at Westfall in 2004, and she's been there every step of the way. But she's a fan for sure. I'm not gonna lie, there have been parent meetings in our kitchen, but
Speaking of that kitchen,
will she question you after? What the hell were you doing here? Why did you do this? Why did you do? Because she's been around the game obviously a lot, so she understands the game.
No, and I tell
At
this
least 25 years.
I've seen her
So-
a few times during you guys' games. She gets into it. I mean,
So I'm sure she's asked you, why did you do this? Why did you do that?
Mhm.
Right?
There's been times, honestly, and I like I was getting ready to say, I tell this story every year at the banquet. It's not the same story. You know how it is after you play a game and you come home and you get something to eat and kind of relax and you finally go to bed and you're laying there and you finally doze off. There's been times where she's hit me and said, "Hey, what about this part of the game? Why did why did you do that?" And
They're our better
I'd
half,
already,
man. They are.
I was
our
already
better half.
past it. I was already past it, and it was still bothering her.
So if we're gonna stay
yeah.
on that same topic, what did she feed these boys? You talked about them at 2 and 3 years old. I have a 2.5-year-old right now. I aspire to also have kids that break records. What, like, do you have fatherly advice for an up and coming father? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. She just fed them normal food, but I can tell you this.
what's normal? I need exact detail to calorie ratio. Are you kidding me? I want an all-star quarterback and a freaking. Blake had a very good game the other game too. Not to keep talking about your family, but getting back to X and O's. The question that I had for you was, just like you said about the roles, when you see a guy like Zeke, pure shooter, you get guys like Caden Cutright and Newt Hoops that are football players that are just pure athletes. How do you get these guys to recognize that role? Because even like against, when we were there, we saw them against Adina. Sometimes you look at it and you're like, man, I just wish there was that one person that was like, this is exactly what we're doing in this moment. You guys had a very good game that game too. I'm not taking away from it, but how do you establish those roles?
Well, I think the one thing is these guys are smart kids and they like to win, and they know that they'll do what it takes to win. And that's the ultimate goal. There's we had a lot of success in football, and I think 6 of our top 8 rotation players in basketball are football players. The only 2 that are strictly basketball guys are Blake Fitch and Zeke Showblock. So it took us a while to kind of get into form. And Shu, all about that, being at Paint Valley football school, that I can remember all of your teams started playing better after Christmas and into the tournament. And it's a real thing. It takes a while. And, not that these guys didn't know what their roles were. It's just, I think that they needed to just get comfortable playing basketball again and really just trying to do what they do really well and letting other guys do things that maybe they don't do so well, pick up that slack. And I think once you get guys to buy into that, and winning always solves everything.
Yeah.
I was going to say, rumor has it that those boys at Paint Valley just got ran so much on the Christmas break that they just decided they couldn't lose again. They couldn't lose again.
Back to the original point, though, and I know you understand this. If you have relationships with your kids and they know you care about them, they're going to understand their roles, because they're going to understand that you're doing what's best for them most of the time.
Yeah, ultimately, you want to see kids have success, and that's what we ask them to do, is just be the very best at what you do. Everyone would like to go score 25 a game, but that's just not the reality. It's just, you can go try to do it, but your teams are going to lose.
When we speak on these roles,
these guys know that, and they've been around long enough to understand it. So
yeah,
that's the approach we take.
When we speak on these roles, I feel like the one thing that I don't see from a couple of these teams is when you need a bucket, if it's, close to the end of the quarter or it's a very close game and they just scored 6 straight points, sometimes you have to – it's not just the role of who's a shooter, who's this. Sometimes you have to trust that shooter, like a guy like Zeke. Sometimes that team has to develop that trust that, like, this is the guy that should have that ball in the situation. And if it makes it or miss it, it doesn't matter, because I wouldn't have rather had it.
We had Clay Stratton, and anytime he shot, I'm like, what's going in? If it misses, like you said, well, I had no chance.
Yeah.
And I can't say anything to him.
I love to see Zeke the way that he's coming through it. Like, I feel like at the end of the game, like you said, after Christmas, maybe people trust it a little bit more.
But if you have relationships with your kids, they will understand that they have ways they can contribute that are as important as somebody scoring or rebounding.
Hell yeah.
Like, you set screens and rebounded. You were a great passer. You were an instigator, which we needed, and other guys might get 20 a night, but
this is why
your role was just as important.
No, and like you said,
Well,
trusting the roles and stuff like that. We would come off of a game sometimes that we would lose, that we felt like we maybe should have won, or we lost a little bit more than we single time that would happen, you'd be like, it's not about the now. At the end of the season, when we're one of the last teams in the tournament, like that's what people are going to remember. And that kind of goes back to what you said.
But Coach Hoops understands this as well as anybody because he was never like the leading scorer. Well, maybe you were some, but you contributed in a million ways that didn't show up in the scorebook, and you took pride in it.
Wait,
Yeah,
as a
and you
player?
have
We're
to.
talking as a player?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this.
Well, I'll be honest. I played really good teams at Unioto, and I had a guy in front of me that I feel like is one of the top probably 5 players that ever played in the SVC, and Jason Cruz.
Yep.
He was 6'7", left-handed, scored at will. He scored over 1,200 points, had over 800 rebounds. I think he attempted 1 3-point shot in his entire 4-year high school career, but was easily the best 3-point shooter on our team probably. I mean, but that just wasn't his role. His role was to basically do everything else. And then I had a guy in my class with Mike Foud who scored over 1,300 points. And so he scored a lot of points, and Shane Gomes was a great point guard, and Matt Park was a great defender and a glue guy. And I scored probably, I don't know, 11 or 12 a game, played hard defensively, did a lot of dirty work. But, in the end, when we all get together and hang out, I don't think we've ever talked about Cruz being player of the year twice or Fout being the second leading scorer in the school's history. We don't talk about that stuff. We talk about, more things that happened in the locker room. We talk about big wins. We talk about tough losses. And that's kind of what I just want the guys that I'm coaching to do. And I think that they realize that.
One of the guys, he was a little bit before you, but you talk about a glue guy who did all the dirty work and did everything. Was kind of a predecessor of you. Was Dan Cox. Do you remember Dan Cox?
Oh, yeah, undersized post player, played his butt off every night. And, you grow up watching that stuff, and you try to, okay, I'm going to be the next guy that does that, or, I'm going to be the next guy that, leads our team or handles the basketball. You just want to have that system in place to where you have guys graduating, but you never have guys graduating because you have someone else that's coming right behind them that's going to do the same thing.
The year after Unioto went to the Final Four, Dan Cox got hurt that next year, and it really hurt the team. They were never as good as they could be, and he was just this guy that just did all the dirty work and rebounded and set screens. And exactly.
You got to have those guys. You have to have them.
You always said all of his best teams had one asshole. I wore that badge of honor.
Yeah. I was lucky to have 2 that year.
Yeah, all the team guys.
You got a glue guy on your team now that we can look out for and look at him as the grinder on this team.
I want to throw one out there. Ashton Crace, man. I mean,
It's not even fair. He already did in football. That dude is the epitome.
But when he comes in off the bench, just stuff happens.
Dude.
He makes stuff.
Number 2 wide receiver, number 2 corner. Every time.
Honestly, one of my favorite glue
like,
guys on this
return
Unioto
punts.
team is going to be Newt. I think he's one of the being able to transition from starting quarterback into to 6-man, just knowing his role. Like, hey, I'll come off the bench. That's just crazy. Like that's.
How did that conversation go? When you were like,
Hey, Clay, I can't. Your mic's a little off. I can't hear it at all. Like,
can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
no, it's been that way for a while. I've basically been reading your lips the whole show.
Jesus, what are you, Helen Keller?
No. I can't. I can just hear you talking probably through someone else's
Clay,
mic.
Is this you right here?
Is it plugged in, Clay?
Shu is here doing a performance review. I'm sitting in the seat behind you to make sure no
So
malarkey
should I unplug
happens.
this and plug this in, possibly for the headset?
Just plug the headset in.
Okay.
Boom. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Same.
Same.
Nope. Same.
Here, take mine.
Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there it is.
Ooh,
Got it.
hey!
Call
all
me
right.
Derek. He's
All
got
right.
it
we
figured
brought
out
him
the
back to like
sound.
1990
NBA over there.
at
Minus the mute.
95 T-Mobile commercial.
Now,
Can you hear me now?
Coach, no, I wanted to ask you, how did that conversation go? I mean, obviously, you're looking at not just your star quarterback and saying, hey, I want you to be our sixth man. You're also looking at, as we've mentioned a few times on the show, your son being like, hey, no, you're the starting quarterback, but your best role on this team is sixth man off the bench.
Yeah, it wasn't a hard conversation. It really wasn't. He understands, man. He's been around it, and would he like to start sometimes? I'm sure he would, but like he
Man,
knows
you wouldn't
that
be
he's
able
going
to
to get.
tell. You can't tell whenever you're watching the game. I'll at least let you know that.
No, in fact, last year Zeke got hurt in the preview, which I don't know. That drove me crazy. He got hurt in the preview. Anyway,
Yeah.
He missed the first 6 or 7 games, maybe 5 or 6 games. So Newton did start, and we were playing okay. But when Zeke was ready to come back, I think we lost the game, and I felt like this is the right time to switch it back to Zeke starting again. And Newton had no problem with that. The funny thing is, I think he came off the bench and he said. He had 20. He came off the bench and had 20. And after the game, he's like, you still don't think I should start? And it was perfect because he set himself up. And I said, have you ever scored 20 before in a varsity game? And he said, no. And I said, then the answer is no. You come off the bench.
Let's go! I would have said, hey, have you ever heard James Harden from OKC? I literally was like,
Honestly,
Jamal Crawford.
he seems like he's more of a winner anyway. He's like,
Yeah.
we're winning. I'll go ahead and take 6 man over starting and losing. I prefer winning. He just seems like a natural born winner.
And we have other guys that, Jordan Perkins starts for us. And there's some games where, they play.
I hear
my
your
dogs are
dog.
going
Wait,
crazy
look,
right now.
get him on camera. I
Yeah.
need to see your dog.
Come here, Bo. Come here, Bo. Come here, Bo. Come here.
I heard him. I was like,
Hey,
I
Big
couldn't tell at
Bo.
first if it was mine or his. Hey, Big Bo.
here. Here's Daisy.
Hey, Daisy! Yeah.
Come here. I don't know if you can see Bo or not, but he's a
Oh, no, we see
140-pound
him.
master.
Big guy. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Little air time.
So we got Bo, we
But
got
anyway,
Daisy. Hell
What I
yeah.
was saying was
Way
I was
better than
saying
Kirk
was we
Herbstreit's
have-
dogs.
we have multiple guys that, like I said, you played bigger roles maybe in bigger sports, but Jordan Perkins was the co-offensive lineman of the year in football, and he'll start games for us, and he plays until, if he gets tired and needs a break or whatever, or maybe we're playing a smaller team that goes small, he doesn't pout about it or, complain that he's out of the game. He understands what he's going to do, what's best for our team to win. And, Newton's like that. Ashton's like that. Caden Cutright's like that. So that's what helps to make really good teams is when you have guys on your team that just whatever it takes for us to win is what they're going to do. And that's probably what probably is most satisfying about coaches is when kids understand their roles and they buy into it and really don't listen to any outside noise that might be saying otherwise.
Now, we've talked about the SVC a lot. Let's get something near and dear to your heart. What the hell happened to those Browns, man? I say, listen, when you start talking about sitting people, shouldn't have sat everybody week 18 right before the playoffs. That was my assumption of the whole thing.
Should have or shouldn't have?
Shouldn't have. They should have played everybody.
No.
Keep that thing going.
They're hot, and
Yeah.
I think that when you look at obviously the Ravens are really, really good, but my goodness, they did the same thing and they didn't look really, really that good.
Hey, so we have the Lions, the Niners,
day.
right? And then we have the Ravens and the Chiefs. We're going to talk about a little bit at the end of the show, but who you got for the Super Bowl? I'm early pick Lions just because of my Browns being out. I gotta go with the underdog still.
Lions, Ravens.
I don't want to root for anyone in the AFC. I don't like either of those teams, but if you had, man, I don't know. Defense wins championships, and I think Baltimore has the best defense. And unfortunately,
Yes, sir.
I would not get caught dead saying it. I might be on the same page as you, but I can't.
But
say
Patrick Mahomes is still playing, so
yeah.
Plus the what is that meme going around? The NFL logo has always got the 2 Super Bowl colors.
Yeah, we're gonna
of,
talk, and the colors are Niners Ravens.
Yeah.
So if it happens
So
this
I guess
year,
Niners Ravens.
yeah,
Niners Ravens, but I want it to be the Lions.
Hey, Niners Ravens, but hopefully this time the Niners win it instead of the Ravens. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from your hometown Purple and Gold, the now recently 250-win coach, and a big game tomorrow against their Michigan, Matt Hoops.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming on, Coach. Always great
thank you.
conversation with Matt. And again,
Yeah.
Coach, they got their basically Michigan-Ohio State game tomorrow. You know, I know you watched the SEC a little bit. Carter Langley out. Who do you think wins that tomorrow? Union Yoda or Zane Trace? It's at Union Yoda. I think that's important to say.
I'm taking Union Yoda in this one.
Yeah, I think so too, just because of
that home crowd is just it's a very, very hard place to play.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we get on to any more basketball, we have to understand today is a great day. 18 years since Kobe Bryant dropped 81 on the Raptors from today.
Worst day in Jalen Rose's year.
Yep.
This is the worst day of his year.
The day that Jalen Rose's career ended was today. So we're going to get that out there. Also, little news update for you guys. Zach Ertz just signed with the Lions. Coach, what are your initial thoughts about that?
He has a really pretty wife.
Yeah.
You know his wife. Yeah, she's like a
And she's on the soccer team.
a soccer player. Or
Yeah.
something.
They met at Stanford games, like because he
the
was
only
just
thing
started
I
going
know.
Oh, so she's smart too.
Yeah.
Only thing I know about her. About him.
Only thing I know about Ertz. All right, so let's get on to SVC boys basketball. Adina's streak ended at 7. They did play some close battles, but it is hard to play with the streak, Coach. I know that we kind of did it a couple of times when I was in high school. I know you did a lot in the 90s. Do you kind of start just feeling that pressure whenever the streak starts getting to that 6, 7, 8 mark?
I don't think so. I think it's your job as a coach, just get them to focus on, the next game.
Yeah.
I always told my guys, if there's a line of guys lined up to knock you out, if you're not paying attention to the guy in front of you and you're looking to the next guy, the guy in front of him is going to take you out.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to focus on the guy right in front of you. But I don't remember our guys feeling a lot of pressure or anything.
No, especially whenever you have the Twin Towers down there with Mason and Dylan.
Yeah.
I promise you, I did not feel any pressure at all.
Yeah, so what's the deal with Northwest, though? Like, I know nothing about the team they lost.
Yeah, so
to.
that's what I said. The only thing I know is that they had the Strawberry back in the day, but they don't look very – I mean, the record-wise, they don't look very good. So is it just like Adina kind of maybe –
What do you mean?
Well, that's my
strawberry
thing. I don't know how to
back
take it. Like, is it a streak ender because the team came in?
Where was the game?
it was I think it was at Northwest.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, you never know what kind of situation you're going to get into.
Well, that's
when
my
you-
whole
when
thing.
you
It's
play
like
down there.
they're losing the streak, but how hard should I take this loss?
let's see.
I don't know anything about
was-
Ohio schools. That's why I asked these questions.
I don't know about the strawberries. Nobody else did.
Okay, it was at Northwest, yes. So we played Northwest in the Portsmouth Clay Invitational to start the
Clay,
season.
say your name again.
Yeah, so it's like a 4-team tournament. You like 2 teams play the first day, then the winners play the next day, losers play the next day. And we win the first day. We go to play the second day, and we play Northwest. And all we knew was what's his last name?
Thornsbury.
Was it Thorns or was it Scarberry?
Scarberry.
Yeah,
That was
Scarberry.
his name. Yeah.
So
Nigel.
Yeah, so they had
Nigel
this.
Thornberry.
They had this guy named Scarberry on the team, and we're in the meeting room. I'm pretty sure it was Tyler Atkins or Riley Marco. They're like, Scarberry, more like Strawberry. So we kept calling him Strawberry, and that game we held them to a Paint Valley record low,
21 points.
21 points, and Strawberry had like 4. So
Nice.
there's the history of Strawberry for you.
I'm Nigel Thornberry.
What was the line from that game, Coach? They were breaking their spirits or something like that.
Yeah, Adkins came over in the middle of the third quarter and he said, "Coach, we broke their spirit."
He said,
because
"Look, Coach." And Coach
it
said,
was
"What?"
like-
He said, "Breaking their spirits."
It was like 45-13. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, Dina's streak ends, but I still think that they're kind of a sleeper in the SVC. Uniota hasn't gone to Adina yet. I don't think Zane Chase has gone to Adina
If
yet.
there's an SVC tournament for the SVC championship like there is in college, I think that Dina would definitely be a sleeper for.
My thing is, man, where we said that they're going to be a run and gun team, I really have not seen them do that a whole lot this year. So I wonder if they kind of get to that. I feel like that's kind of what their MO
That's
is.
our fault for putting a little bit too much emphasis
Yeah.
on
They
what we saw
don't
at the
need
preview.
to.
I
Like,
don't
my
know,
whole
man. They're
thing
so
is when you
athletic.
look at it like Jody Ader, I don't know if he's been, and this is not a bad
Great
thing.
mustache. Great.
Yeah,
I
great
don't know
mustache.
that
have
he's
to throw
been,
that in there.
I don't know that he's been the leading scorer in the past 4 to 5 games.
Well, 'cause
And that's
Smith
not
has-
a bad thing.
Because Smith has really stepped up for them.
And
he-
Easton Hennis,
yeah.
like I'm telling you, some
Yeah,
of these dudes,
at
like,
Applebee's the other day, there was a Dina Uniota game on, crazy, and I heard some people talking about the Smith kid. It was
Yeah.
just they're like,
He-
that's that kid from Medina, right?
Huh? So Uniota has to go to Adina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be tough for Uniota, especially if it's is it close to after the Zane Trace game? Yeah, about a week from now. Yeah. So if it's right after that Zane Trace game and Uniota wins at against Zane Trace, they could very easily look over Adina because they beat him pretty handily that first time. But I think that was two. That's the thing about basketball, man. You can play 3 great quarters. And you can play one bad quarter, and that's the whole game for you. I think that's what happened with Adina at Uniota last time.
and it was the first
the
quarter.
first quarter they came out. Showblock
And-
went off for 18.
Exactly.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's almost like somebody called it.
I know. It's a
Dina's a lot better now, though.
that's
almost
what
like-
I think too. It's
It's almost
very
like
very
one of those
early
Ride
in
the
the
Wave
season.
guys said that was going to happen, and it
I'm
happened. It
still
was
interested
crazy.
with Uniota though, because like there's going to be some hard times where they're going to need a for sure bucket, and that's why I kind of wanted to touch on. It's not just establishing roles; like sometimes it's those extracurriculars. It's not just the role; it's what you do. It's the icing
No,
on the cake.
that's what we're trying to.
Well, essentially what I mean is, like, if you're coming down the court, like, it's really scary when you're trying to beat a full court press. You finally beat it, and you get down there, and you don't necessarily know who the person you're getting that ball to.
Yeah.
I really like when there's just a guy that it's just like, that's him. Just like
See,
you said.
I think Showblock though might be emerging
That's
as
what
that guy.
That's what I
'Cause
mean. I think after time, it's
after we've looked, so Showblock last game had 21. The game before that he had 29, and the game before that he had 19. So he's sitting right around 20 every single game. I think you have to put him up right now for Player of the Year. On the boys' side, I mean, there's nobody else that's consistently doing that. I hate to always say, like, the player on the winning team has to do it, but when the league's like it is now,
Maybe they're just winning because he's just doing his thing.
that's what I'm saying. Where it's so jumbled up, I feel like Uniota's winning because Zeke Showblock is playing as good as he is.
and great coaching.
Yes, obviously, 250 wins has to be good
Great
coaching. But yeah, so I think you got to definitely put Showblock up for Player of the Year right now. I thought it was going to be Carter Langley until he hurt his hand. I think it's hard to, Coach, you could kind of talk about this. It's kind of hard to get an injury, miss some time, and still win Player of the Year, don't you think?
Yeah, we had we've had a couple situations in the past where a kid would miss 7 or 8 games and
Yeah.
for Player of the Year, and if their stats are similar, you got to give it to the guy who played every game.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt you.
And I want to talk about one thing. What do you I think, like, co-Player of the Year's garbage.
I don't like it.
I hate
To
it.
quote
like
Ted Lasso, it's like kissing your
Never-
sister.
Never liked it.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
feel
a
like
tie.
I feel like there always has to be at least one clear cut.
Well, the thing is, back when I coached, you'd go into these all SVC meetings, and guys would talk ahead of time. Hey, let's figure this out so we can get both guys. Instead of
Yeah.
just voting for who you want. No, I mean that's just it's a cop out for people.
Yeah.
I want mine to get it.
It's like when you're going into NFL fantasy football championship, and you're like, oh, we'll just split the money 50-50.
It's like, nah, man, I'm
whoever
winning it all. I'm
Yeah.
winning none.
No, I did that. This year.
Because Tony's like, I got paid that.
I was hoping the
literally
guy I
said,
was
"Let me
playing was
paint
going to do it
that
to me.
nursery."
Yeah.
I said 450 or 900. 450 in pocket. Yes, I still went on to win, and you know what I said?
So,
Still paid for. All that pain.
See, I was the opposite. I was like, I played a guy. I was like, if he hits me up, I'm telling him no. I was like, I'm winning this
Do
all.
you have a
this money.
child?
I don't. That's the difference between us.
Show
I'm making
me
decisions
the
for myself.
money.
Yeah, that's completely different.
now another team in the league, Coach. I know you're kind of good friends with Huntington. They got a big win over Portsmouth Clay. They were like kind of right on the cusp of the last few games, only losing by like a few points here and there. Finally getting the win. It's the name of the school,
Find
Tony.
another way to say Clay.
That's the first time I've ever heard him talk
This
about.
is a freaking performance review. Shoe is here. People could be fired.
Well, your
That could be
performance
you.
is subpar.
My
Whoa,
shit is a
whoa.
See? And downplaying
Fight him
other
right
people's
now, Tony.
performances, It's shoes Choose call.
Shoot telepathically just told me, Tony, subpar.
No, I have many things to talk about him. Still on this episode. He
No,
was
but
telling me going in.
Coach, Huntington finally gets their third win. Still trying to find that win in the SBC. What do you think Coach Yerg's going to have that team looking like here? I mean, I feel like he's like your kind of coach.
I
old school.
sub over at Huntington a lot, and I talk to all those guys. And Rick Yerg knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's just he reminds me of when I first came back to Paint Valley. The culture had to be completely changed.
Yeah, because the coach there before was terrible.
And that's I'm not going to say that, but that's what he's doing. And if they just stick with him, he'll get the thing turned around. And they've clearly been playing better and better as they've gone. They play Paint Valley tomorrow night at Paint Valley.
I think that's going to be a tough game for Paint Valley.
Yeah, they could.
Speaking of
one.
teams that
But
have
it
been right
sounds
on
like
the
you're
cusp,
being a little biased.
biased. You have to say it right.
Buyest.
Yeah, biased.
Biased.
Yes,
It's
I'd
not
be a
even a
little
word.
biased against Waverly. But Paint Valley's been another one of those teams, Coach, that's been like right on the cusp. You said they, they have some good teams out there. They have teams. They have some good players out there. I feel like they have the right coach. It's kind of just, again, the McLean game came down to the last second shot, just doesn't go in. A lot the Southeastern game, they're up 7, lose in overtime. So it just seems like they aren't being able to put together a full game.
Yeah, Lakeem Lockery absolutely knows what he's doing, and he's good with the kids. They don't have a lot of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of senior leadership. A couple of their younger kids have to be more aggressive. I think Carson Free needs to step up and realize he has to get 25 a night.
Yeah, he has to be that guy.
Yeah, Braylon Robertson needs to get 12, 15 every night.
Yeah.
And then, your Gavin Kingery's going to play hard. He needs to get 8, 10, 12 a night.
And he needs to get those off of rebounds, too.
Yeah.
Because
Honestly, I feel like Braylon could be he could be kind of the heart of that team, even with Free getting, 25 every night, Braylon getting 12, he could get about 10 assists every
I was
night.
gonna say, he should be averaging double-double.
I think he should be the heart of that team
Your
for
best
sure.
players need to get to the line at least twice a quarter to get 8 and then hopefully 10 or 12 free throws a night. You make 9 or 10 of them. That's 10 points. And
Write that down, dude.
Yeah.
That's
What?
some stuff you could learn.
Yeah.
I already did.
But you're not going to get to the line like that if you don't attack the basket and be aggressive, and that's what they got to do, in my opinion.
And I feel like, and I'm not saying that just Paint Valley does. I think like the whole, not just league, like high school sports in general, it's so more open post than trying to feed the paint and playing inside out rather than now they're playing outside in.
Yeah, everyone kind of runs the same dribble drive,
handoff,
kick,
that kind of stuff.
Kind of the same thing. And
So let me ask you this. What do you think's easier? I think it's almost easier to play from the inside out than it is with the
10 times.
With the weird way that this whole shooting thing is, you get the random kid who's still willing to chump it up from 4 feet beyond the arc. And what did you earn that in practice?
No,
It's
you
like
learn it
you're
from
literally
Steph
looking
Curry.
at it,
He's
it's
the
like,
problem.
That wasn't even a heat check or anything like that. It's like, but these kids are still willing to do it. And I think that would be so difficult to coach. I think that would be so.
I think whenever you pound the ball in the paint and you establish yourself inside, it does more than just, you're establishing yourself inside, you're working the paint, then you work yourself out. I think it's a mental thing. Like when you're just getting your ass handed to you down low, eventually, like after a quarter or 2 quarters of that, you're like, dude, screw this. Like I'm not.
I'm taking I'm taking me and my ass home.
Exactly. And then
Hand it to me enough times, I'm just gonna take it from you and take it home.
how many times do you think someone's down there with Dylan Swingle and just after a quarter
but how
of
many times have we seen that this year?
none?
Not a lot. That's my thing.
That's why I think they
It's
should
just
start.
so tough.
back in the
But I did see Big Bo Henry have a big game. I've been calling that for weeks. I love him as a player, but finally led the team in scoring.
That's another big guy. That's a big guy that can actually
Love him
establish.
so much.
That's what I
marry
mean.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me of a story. Back in the late 80s, it was early 90s, there was a guy named Paul Cotter. He was the Greek national coach, coached their Olympic team. He's the guy who eventually got me the Montserrat gig where I've been coaching down there for 25 years in the Caribbean. He was their national coach, too. Anyway, he had lunch with Gary Williams, your boy, still talks about you, and Billy Hahn, the late, great Billy Hahn, and we were having lunch. And Cotter was saying, because that was back when the three-pointer just come in 87, and people really hadn't – we were still figuring out how to just get it into the basket for an easy shot.
Yeah.
the 3-pointer was still like, well, if you take one, it's fine, but it wasn't a part of your game plan. Well, Cotter told us at this lunch, he said, in 10 years, 20 years, he said, you guys are playing outside in. He said, 10, 20 years, you're going to be playing like the Europeans. You're going to be playing inside out. You're going to throw it inside to kick it outside for a good shot. And we, kind of chuckled at him when he left. We were like,
what does this guy
didn't know what he was 100% dead on,
Yeah.
correct. And that's the way everybody plays
You
now.
give athletes enough time to do any specific task.
And it showed because junior year we had Mason and we had me in the post. Well, obviously you can worry about Mason. Don't worry about the other guy, right? So it was kind of hard to establish it.
Yeah, he's ugly as hell. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
ugly
that.
as hell can't make a
I heard he's the #1 customer at the ugly stupid store.
No, he owns it. You gotta get it right. He owns the ugly stupid.
No,
store.
don't give him that much credit. He's
Yeah,
just the number
'cause
one.
Nah,
he's
he's not a
built it.
business owner.
But
He's a
anyways,
customer.
he gets. It's hard to guard whenever Swingle comes in because then either you can't just double team Mason. So then Anthony, T-Bag, even Stratton, they're way more open around the 3-point lane.
Crabtree.
Mad Money Mike being able to just establish being open, and that's why I feel like whenever you're a team that's just like, yeah, we're just gonna go down, we're gonna shoot a lot of threes. We're going to be completely guarded because they're like, well, we don't have to worry about the post. Like, it's almost like whenever guys get down low and they're trying to,
It is. But
they'd rather pass it out for a 3 than shoot a
But when
layup.
you have YouTube videos teaching you how to do Steph Curry's crossover at the tender age of 9,
Yeah.
you just get this head start.
Here's
Like,
how
I
you
feel
do
like when I
Steph
played
Curry's
basketball,
crossover. You
I had
become
Rick
Steph Curry.
I had No, I'm not saying that. I just mean like a quick release or just. I don't even care if it's AI's crossover. Like I didn't have YouTube to watch it 55 times in a row and perfect it. And I mean, honestly, it's just such a head start. You almost get to come down there and be like, oh well, this person's going to guard me at 3. Let me figure out how James Harden created the separation, and then by 12 years old, pretty much.
He takes 7 steps with me.
I always laugh when I hear people say, well, people can relate to Steph Curry because he's small and he's not 6'9" like LeBron and 240. And young kids look at him, Steph, and go, oh, I can do that. No, you cannot do it.
No, you can't.
He's still 6'4".
So
isn't he?
it's hurt the game in that regard that guys, you got these kids out there shooting 40-footers that can't make them.
Dude,
Yeah.
the Will came on and
I was
spoke
literally
about-
just thinking about when Will said that.
Yeah.
You got some
my best man for my
overweight,
wedding. He's one of
5
my best
foot
friends.
nothing
He's a
kid.
coach. He's a coach and he's a teacher at a school. And he just says, and he kind of brought up the YouTube stuff too, is that they see something in a game and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
But then you realize that is 0.5 seconds of an entire game. You
Yeah.
just figured out a cheat code for.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of time left, bud. So it's like these guys come out and it's just.
And then you talk about Steph Curry, and then you got people like Caitlin Clark doing like her thing where it's like, oh, see, look, she's like replicating it too, so it can be done. It's like, again, no, you're not Caitlin Clark,
Yeah.
dude. Like there's an X factor there. It's their genetics.
Well, it's just like when I see a lot of it when we watch the SVC games is kids going in with super nice dribble moves, super nice footwork, and then their shot is just into the rafters. I'm like, the most important part's the shot.
Yeah,
so
they-
lose
something
the
crazy
footwork,
that-
lose the dribble work, and figure out how to put up a formed
Well,
shot.
T-Bag, of all people, is saying it. I know he's saying it because of this guy right here. Shot fake.
Yeah,
Shot. You're doing that
Dude,
move. Get down
I
there.
heard
Shot
that
fake
in
to
my
collect
sleep.
yourself,
That was
and then put up a
that
collective.
was me. That
yeah.
last game, I
Yeah.
was so over it. One hard
Yeah.
dribble. Establish yourself.
I literally heard shot fake in my sleep for 4 years. I mean, I can understand that 100%. But speaking of Caitlin Clark, the Ohio State women knocked off the #2 Iowa Hawkeyes, and then Caitlin
And
Clark.
somebody trying to take her out.
Apparently, Caitlin Clark got ran over. Shoe, you're shaking your head. I think we're all on the same page here. Looks like she kind of pushed the fan, Coach.
I think, you call that fan taking the hit from Caitlin like that. She's
Yeah.
a dog. She'll run right through somebody. I've seen her on the court.
First of all, I love her. She's great.
Yeah.
She's hard-nosed. I love to watch her play. But
But
she flopped on
Yeah.
that. I mean, she twirled
Hey,
around.
at least she
and
flopped after the game. At least
She
you know.
twirled around, raised her arms, and then she was holding the wrong side as they took
Yeah.
her out. It wasn't even the side.
That she got
And
hit on?
shoved the girl. The
Yeah.
girl didn't really, and the girl was an idiot for running out there with her phone up.
Yeah.
So I'm not. She's a
no
She deserved
sympathy
it.
for her, but no sympathy for Clark. Really,
I
either.
got to ask you a question here. Have you gotten a chance to watch the Chillicothe game that we put out
No.
No. Well, there's a technical call I wanted to ask you about.
Dude, it's not a
There's a
technical.
technical on
It is
that.
100%. I know it's called a technical for the game. Shouldn't have been a technical. I won't put his words in his mouth. Came back here and watched
No,
it.
yeah,
I
my
was
stance
like,
after watching it on TV, it's
not
a
a
little
tech-
different.
It's not a
It didn't
technical.
quite look like it, so I
They
was just
had
wanting to
about this much, if not more room.
it was just so quick. It wasn't
It
so
was
much
quick,
that it was
and
like
it's not like he came
No,
from forever
Shu,
away. It
let
was
me
about
ask
one
you
or two
this.
steps.
If you get a kid that's being loud as well, so a kid dunks.
hold on.
The non.
let
no,
him
you're
land.
interrupting.
Just let
now.
him land.
The non-dunker. A kid comes in.
Swingle dunks on somebody.
Ferocious
Trevor
dunk.
comes in.
No, it
Okay,
was me.
everybody's going nuts. Some kids are doing on his head and walking towards the sideline. One kid is literally going, "How does it taste? How does it taste?" I heard the words he was saying from where we were.
Tony, you're explaining me my
So
entire
the guy
senior
did
year.
not dunk?
So the kid. So listen.
So the kid that didn't dunk was yelling at Juan Miller, doing this whole thing. Whole rest of the team's on the sideline. He's still going at Juan Miller.
So what happened is just like whenever Swingle or Mason would dunk, they were too like, I'm going to do this. I don't talk shit, so I'm just going to run down the court. And then it'd be like whenever I would go up to the person and let them know that they just got disrespected.
But the guy who dunked was talking shit.
No, he's not the one that got the T, though.
I know, but I think that's the difference. That's the difference,
Yeah,
though.
but like what I'm saying is what that kid did, I did for 3 to 4 years. Never got a technical. That's what I'm saying. And they never. My biggest
would
thing
you have
is
gotten a technical if Dylan or you say Tegan were also
Mason.
Mason? If they were also dogging the kid,
I don't know. Mason might have actually dogged the kid because he was a dick. I love you, dick. but the biggest thing to me why it wasn't technical, it's because he didn't touch the kid. He didn't come up and hit him with his chest
So here's
or
my thing.
point at him
It's
or anything
almost-
like that. He
the
was
technical
like this.
isn't necessarily like what it was. It wasn't
The whole
necess-
team should get technical if he himself got technical.
My thing
because
is,
the whole
it's
team is
almost
looking at
it's almost
Juan.
a teaching lesson to him, being like, dude, go to your bench. The rest of the team is over there. Because that's the thing. I rewatched it too. The one thing I noticed is that everybody else did their shit. They did their pat on their head. That one kid literally patted his head 150 times and didn't get a technical. But the one kid that was still almost walking to half court while the rest of his team was over on the sideline. That's
kinda
when I'm
what
like,
it
you're
is.
just ignorant.
so this guy over here comes in.
It's like, dude, I
no,
get
no, no.
Gets in his
It's
face.
how he did it.
Because
It's
you got to
how-
think too that he had been guarding the ball full court.
It was
the entire
kind
game,
of quick.
too.
It
So
cuts
he
off a
wasn't
little
even
too
supposed to be
early,
getting back.
but
He
The
himself.
dunker? Or the,
The kid that got the technical. He was guarding the ball almost full court the whole game. So he wasn't even supposed to be getting back.
No, that's Anthony Traylor. He's a sixth man. So he wasn't even a starter to begin with.
oh, he was number 5.
Yeah. So I'm still saying though, whenever he's in, he's probably still guarding the ball full court. They're guarding full court.
Whenever he's in.
I'm
You're
saying.
finding excuses for this man.
Guys,
They're
come on,
guarding
man.
full
Let's
court. They're
wrap
guarding-
this one up.
Guarding whole games. Sixth man. Don't give me that guard box.
I didn't know this was what this was going to devolve into. I wouldn't have asked the question.
I love it. We had to.
Not
and
a-
I almost texted it today.
Not
I said it's
technical.
missing from the show plan, baby.
Not technical.
Yeah, we playing this to
Whatever.
ambush you, Clay.
Cool. The whole show. But all right. So then we're gonna get on to, let's see here. Oh, the NFL. We kind of talked about it a little bit with hoops. Lions to the NFC Championship. Dan Campbell is a straight up G. Did you guys see his interview after the game? To like, he was just thinking like not even like just the players, like the city, the fans.
Did the opposite of
owners.
Matthew Stafford, yes.
Yeah, he was just like, it's all about you guys, man. You're the best,
Oh,
man.
he deserves it more than anybody. He was on that 0-6.
16.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
on that 0-16 team. Like, he deserves a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for a Lions
That's
Super Bowl.
again with the Browns being out. I'm gonna go with the other team that has sucked forever. Going with the Lions.
Yeah.
I
As a
want them to
Vikings
win the whole
fan, I'm going with the Lions. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
thing. And Goff has been a monster, dude. Like
Well, he's a Ram.
dude,
so.
we've been talking about it. I think the Lions have won this trade almost officially because you beat the team that you traded with with the quarterback you took
A
from
year
him.
later.
Doesn't matter until you get a ring.
I'm putting.
You can't say you win anything. They could have 10 NFC championships. 10.
I don't know.
10 NFC championships with no Super Bowl, and I'm still like, well, Rams won.
Longevity.
I want the Lions to win, but more than anything, I don't want the Chiefs to win. I am so tired of those.
I don't know how I'm feeling because I don't want the Ravens to even
I'm telling
be in
you
the
right
Super
now,
Bowl,
if I'm you,
but
I'd
I
take the
don't want the
Ravens over
Chiefs
the
to be in the
Chiefs.
Super
if
Bowl.
I'm
any
you,
day
I'm
of the
taking the
week.
Chiefs.
I'm with you on
I
that one,
would
Coach.
never,
I just said
ever,
somebody
so
today.
sick of
I
it.
don't give a crap if there was the Niners would be a perfect example. Never would I root for somebody in my division.
They were talking about Mahomes being so classy going up to the quarterback Allen yesterday. Well, the last time he played Allen in Kansas City, when the Bills beat him, he was whining and complaining about that call. Remember the offsides call? I mean, I'm so
here's
sick of that guy.
here's what I hate.
and I like
Come on, you can see it right
I promise you, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I think she's great. I have a bunch of her music, but good God, man.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of seeing
The
Travis
the
Kelce
Chiefs have become
and
more
his
of like
brother on TV.
yeah, they've become more of like a
They're like the Beatles.
yeah, or like a clown that's like you
And,
just bring.
and Jason,
You watch
you know,
your
he
mouth,
doesn't
Bills.
make
Bills
it.
are great.
The Eagles got beat, and then he has to insert himself into the conversation by taking his shirt off and acting like an idiot. I mean, I'm just tired
Because
of
the
it.
Eagles suck. They got beat.
See,
like,
I hate
what,
that
like a month ago?
the Browns.
You know what we have?
Okay.
A Super Bowl. And do you also remember when we rolled in the NFC Championship and mopped your bitch ass? Oh, my God. You
What?
had the miracle.
He's talking about
I wasn't paying
He said,
any
that,
attention.
he
to
said
what
the
you guys
So,
Eagles
this is the
suck,
thing-
and then I was reminiscing about the time that you guys had the miracle in the Meadowland and randomly
Yeah,
met
Case
you and
Keenum as a quarterback made it that far. I was just happy to be
and
there.
we mopped you.
Yeah. The
Just
thing,
like
the
a
thing
Super
that people,
Bowl
I'm glad people
champion
don't realize a lot about the Vikings is we are one Super Bowl appearance loss away from being worse than the Bills.
Do you also realize you're like 2 45-pound weights away from not having the best player in your franchise history other than Randy Moss?
What? He's talking about Chris Carter. He was an Eagle before.
No, I am not.
Where'd the 45-pound weights come from?
The D tackle, the greatest,
idea what
most
he's
small D tackle of all time.
Are you gonna explain?
The purple people, you don't know this guy?
Nah, I said
I'm
purple
trying
people.
to
That's
figure
way
out what you're
before I was
talking
Who's the
about.
that.
top 5 Vikings of all time?
I don't know. I don't care about them.
I got my favorites.
I'll say Randy Moss, Dante Culpepper.
I
and
remember
then
the Purple
Chris Carter.
People Eaters. I can't
Jared,
think of the,
Jared
can't think
Allen's
of the
gonna be
line.
up there for me.
Yeah.
And then like,
Allen was a dog.
well, I think D tackles. I'm thinking of Hunter, like the Hunter, the guy that was like.
He's talking the
those
70s.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. That's what I say. I just don't care. I don't know.
I don't go back that far, my friend. I'm sorry.
Purple
Yeah.
People Eaters.
He wears he wore
He doesn't
two-
know his name either. He can't
Yeah, I
think
know.
of it.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you won't tell us.
can't
Yeah,
think of it.
you don't remember? Well, shit.
I'm not a
neither do
Vikings
I.
fan. I don't need to.
Okay, but you're saying like we should all know.
I remember Fran Tarkington.
You're a I'm telling you right now. I just
Fran
talked about
Tarkington,
Sonny
quarterback.
Jurgensen and Concrete Chuck Bednarik from the 45s for my squad. It's John something, but he wore 20-pound weights to his Vikings.
Was it Marshall?
truck.
Was his last name Marshall?
Dude, you guys are all gonna be pissed because I swear to God, you guys all know this guy too. All that being said, he wore 20-pound weights on his chest, duct taped them to him because they said, "Look, dude, you can't
Too
come
small.
on. You can't even have a practice squad tryout because of how much you weigh." He wore those weights, duct taped to his chest, got on the team, and is now an NFL Hall of Famer. John Randall. I told you it was John. I didn't know his first name.
I
I've
would've
never
never-
heard that name in my life.
Jim Marshall, Alan Page. Yeah.
Brock Lesnar played for the Vikings.
I do know that.
Dude, you
I
know
definitely
John
do that.
Randall.
I don't know John Rand.
Terry Crews played for the Rams.
Terry Crews has become one of the greatest people on TV. Can we talk about this for a second? I watched AGT for a couple of years when he was the host. That guy's hilarious. But I feel like
Brooklyn
people,
Nine-Nine, he kills it.
I feel like people only know him as the Peck Dance guy.
Who's that? What's AGT? Oh,
America's Got Talent. Yeah, he used to be the host of that. I thought he was really funny. And White Chicks. He was really good in White Chicks.
That's what he won America's
Shoot.
Hearts in.
What's
Oh, it was a
he
movie.
was the first
I
guy
thought
to
it was-
do that eye black, like
Yeah, I've never
What-
seen.
what's
I
the
have
eye black?
never seen this guy.
the triangle eye black under his eyes.
Shoot, do you
Like,
know
are
who this
you
man
not
is?
picking up on any
No,
of
I
this?
know what you're talking about. I know. I remember those guys.
I just-
Fran Tarkington was the quarterback. He was great.
Why
He
we
did.
start
He
talking
said
about this
that. He
again?
said that.
He was the first scrambling quarterback back in the
He
70s.
said
He
this
also-
while you were trying to figure it out. He did
He-
say
Where you
this,
were
yeah.
yelling. Huh?
Who, me?
Yeah. Go ahead. What were you
I'll stop
asking me?
yelling.
I don't know. I really don't even know why we started talking about the Vikings. I got kind of lost.
No,
in
he talks shit on the Eagles.
I did. That's my fault.
Oh,
I'm
so
sorry.
shoot.
Don't hit me
Who do
again.
you have in the Super Bowl? I think that's how we got to the start of this.
Who do I predict, or who do I would like to see?
Both.
I'd like to see the Lions beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
But I think the Ravens are going to end up playing the 49ers and beating them. I don't think the Ravens are going to lose, man.
I think the winner of the NFC. I think the NFC is winning the Super Bowl this year.
Their defense.
That's not my only prediction. That's what, because the Niners have a good defense, but dude, that Lions defense with Hutchinson and
he's nasty.
Even
if he is a Michigan.
Speaking of him, have you seen he's like living everybody's dream? Like he grew up in Michigan, then he went to Michigan, turned Michigan around. Now he's turning the Lions around.
Also, his sister was Miss Michigan.
Oh
Seen
yeah,
her?
so that whole family's just living out there.
Might want to Google that,
Might
Andy.
Put that in your search history over there, Anderson. But no, I want to see the Lions and Ravens just so I can watch the Ravens get Super Bowl ripped from their heart.
Well, I don't like the Ravens either, but
I'd like to see Lions and Ravens.
I
'cause it's two
remember when
Ohio
Lamar
teams.
Jackson came out of Louisville, and all these
He's a running
experts
back.
saying he's not a quarterback. You need to move him to wide receiver. He can't throw. He just runs. No, he can throw now. I mean, he's an all-around quarterback.
Oh, he can throw
and
Louisville.
the position of quarterback has kind of changed.
They're all like
A
Michael
lot of
Vick's
them are
now.
more like Lamar Jackson now.
Yeah, because of how good Lamar Jackson has been.
And the Tom Brady's are kind of falling to the wayside. You got these guys like Patrick Mahomes who can run and do, and Josh Allen. They can all run and do all that stuff, which Lamar Jackson was doing 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And people were questioning it.
Yeah, I think this is like kind of the first year he's actually had a good receiving core.
I was literally about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You literally sit there talking about a running. Who did he have?
Yeah.
And I don't want to see Beckham get another Super Bowl ring. But
I just hate. I just want to see the Ravens get the jaws of victory or the amazing feeling of victory ripped right out from underneath.
I'm all for two
I just don't
Ohio
want the
teams in the
Chiefs to
Super
win.
Bowl.
If I had
Portsmouth and Cleveland.
if I had to rate them to who I wanted to win, be the Lions first, 49ers second, Ravens third, and Chiefs last.
You know one thing that
I'm rooting for the Lions just because of the Portsmouth
Can't
aspect.
stand
You know one thing I've kind of noticed around here is there's a lot of 49ers fans here in Chillicothe, and I feel like it's from whenever the Niners were really good
When they
in
were
like
good,
the 90s.
when they were good in the late
Same reason
80s
as
or
Cowboy
late
fans.
90s,
Yeah. Well, me and you have talked about this. If you look at LeBron's favorite teams, you just go to the Yankees
Cowboys.
and and basketball. I don't think he ever said one, but he's a Michael Jordan
The
fan.
lake.
Well, basketball is whatever team he's on, probably.
Yeah.
But
No, he
that's
wasn't a Jordan fan.
usually, and this isn't all of them, but usually the reason I have problems with LeBron fans is because the same people that are just huge LeBron fans are also just huge fans of all those teams. It's like, you just like winners.
LeBron,
Anybody can like
LeBron's
winners.
favorite
It's
player
easy.
was AI.
Yeah, he said that's the reason they started wearing headbands and got tattoos and everything like that.
He's very.
Coach, I wanna
influential.
ask
love
you-
that
Michael
guy.
Jordan.
I want to
wanted
ask
be
you
Allen
because you're
Iverson.
the only one. I hope this doesn't sound bad, but you were the only one that was around here when LeBron was in high school that would know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Drew Bob was better than LeBron. No offense to Drew Bob, but LeBron. What was it like in Ohio? Just being like, hey, this kid up in Akron's kind of all right. Like,
Yeah, you started hearing about him in 7th grade.
really?
Yeah, I was athletic director at the time at Paint Valley, and you started hearing all these stories about him. And then he started showing up on TV when he was a freshman. I think
Yeah.
they won the state when he was a freshman.
They won the state his freshman, sophomore,
Yeah.
and senior year.
My favorite story about him around here is there was a shootout in Wellston that he played at, and he blocked somebody, and the ref called a goaltender. He's like, I'll never be able to call something like that against somebody. So this is my chance. I had to.
I remember Jay Billis when LeBron was and this was shocking at the time. He was a sophomore in high school, maybe a junior. And Jay Billis on ESPN said he would be one of the top 7 players in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Because Billis had went to watch him. And he was like a junior in high school.
And it was kind of crazy whenever he got drafted by the Cavs. Like, they were all like, hey, we don't need him. Like, dude, you were just the number 1 overall pick, and you say you don't need somebody. You need everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was kind of crazy. And it just kind of goes to show you, like, some people, like, there's some people that are amazing, like going through high school, going through college, and then they just don't have that reality check ever. They're like, yeah, man, you're good down here, but when you get to the big leagues, it's a whole different story.
Around the same time as LeBron, there was a guy named O.J. Mayo.
Yeah,
O.J. Mayo was.
He's from Cincinnati, right?
Yeah. Well, he was from Kentucky, then played for somewhere around Cincinnati. But Paint Valley played them in the Zane Trace Classic.
Yeah.
And you were talking about Drew. Everyone's in there to watch O.J. Mayo, and Drew had like 28 points and 21 rebounds, but completely outplayed O.J. Mayo at the time.
Because everybody thinks about Drew Bob as this amazing football player. That dude was just an athlete. I mean, the only time that Paint Valley didn't go to the convo whenever Shu wasn't the coach was when Drew Bob was a senior.
Yeah.
And literally was just like, all right, drop it 30 every night, and that's how we're going to win.
You said that's the only time they've went to the convo
without him being a coach. But guess who the coach was? Craig Kearns. Who? Prodigy of coach. So pretty much every single time they got in the convo, it's been because of Coach Shu or someone of Coach Shu. Yeah. But no.
Hashtag get him in the hall.
Hashtag get him in the hall.
Like lives in the hall. Lives in the convo. He should live in the hall.
Yeah. But no, Drew was even an amazing baseball player. Like I've had a million people tell me that he should have went to college for baseball because like he could hit a baseball over the mountains.
It's funny because there's mountains there.
I know, as old Uncle Rico would say.
When Drew was a senior, we played Cincinnati Christian Academy in the playoffs at Paint Valley, and they came down that Wednesday. Their AD and coach and principal, and they were saying, "Oh, I guess we're going to play in the middle of a cornfield down here." They were because they played in inner city Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And their coaches were up in the press box, kind of. They thought they were going to kick our ass. It was like the fourth play of the game. They had a running back who went to he went D1 to either Iowa or Stanford or somewhere. He was really good. But one of his linemen fell down, and this running back, he was 6'3", 240, leaped over his lineman, and Drew Bob met him in the air. And up in the press box where I was, it sounded like someone shot a rifle. And this guy went down, and he knocked him out for the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're
I bet people from Paint Valley didn't flinch. They're like, I hear shotguns all the time. Ain't nothing.
And their coaches just went silent the rest of the game. They went, oh, shit, we're in a battle. And we beat their ass.
They got their foot put in their mouth for sure. Yeah. Talk about another coach that got their foot put in their mouth, the Texas coach. Now, before I say this, congratulations. I want to give it to Tyrese Hunter. Hit the dagger, destroyed my parlay. Congratulations, Texas, you win. Screw the Texas head coach. I don't know what your name is.
You're talking about basketball.
Yeah, the basketball head coach. Whatever your name is, I officially don't like you. If you guys don't know what we're talking about how dude hits, or no, they lose and say, what are you doing? All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome to the Ride the Wave Show Part 2 here today. Had a nice little break, got our bellies full of the best pizza in town, Giovanni's Pizza. Big shout out to them. Always been a big sponsor for us. Always, not just feeding our bellies, feeding the town. Got the $10 pizzas today for $10 Medium Pizza Monday. Now it's time to get on to some college basketball like before we got off here. Again, Horns, Don, screw Texas. Again, Tyrese Hunter, you're not the problem here. You did hit the dagger. Texas coach being a little
puss.
Yeah. So, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, they lost. I don't even know who they lost to.
Can we say bitch?
I think we say bitch.
Oh, well, he's being a little
He's
bitch.
not going to get this. Texas is being a little bitch. So they beat somebody, and they jumped all up and down. They were excited about it. You know, it was a big win for that program. I really wish I could remember the name of the school.
I'm just laughing because I was like, can we say?
Can we say bitch? Wait, we say fuck. So,
Oh, we do say.
But no, immediately after he says, we don't jump up and down after we win. Well, guess what he was seen doing after they beat Baylor? Jumping up and down. So that's being a little how they say, hypocritical of themselves.
Like he was being a little bit of a naysayer on himself.
Yeah. So it's like, come on, man. You can't say one thing
And
and then do another.
Yeah.
So does it say another big upset this weekend? Duke.
puke.
Puke got beat by Pitt, and it was one of the most beautiful things ever because, again, we had Duke fan on, Coach Hoops here earlier, but we still hate him, and so does Pitt, but we want to give a huge thank you to –
Not the coach. We hate Duke.
Oh, yeah, we hate Duke. We hate Duke. We hate
Yeah.
Duke. We hate Duke. But we don't hate Blake Henson. Blake,
Yeah, Blake.
thank you. We got this video coming up for you guys right now of Blake doing amazing things. So the Cameron Crazies, you know, they've been named probably the best student section.
I thought that was a
college
Cubs shirt this whole time. It's a
Oh, no,
Colorado.
Colorado, yeah.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
The C is what deceives
Yeah.
me. I was like, that looks like a Cubs shirt.
Me and Andy, Colorado Springs, on that Dead show, we were
Yeah. Well, when
up there.
Yeah, when I read it, I was like, oh, I think he got that on the trip.
I did.
Yeah.
But no, so we're looking here. This is, again, Blake Henson. Take a look.
Picture this.
Picture this. He gets in front of the Cameron Crazies and says, guys, there's one thing I want to let you know. Hate you. Here we go. Yeah. Says, look at that. Look at that. Look at that guy right there just flipping him off right there in the middle. He does not care. That's what you do when you beat. First road win versus an AP. Hold on. Let this roll and pause at the end. I need to see that. Again, this is from ACC Network, ESPN. Don't sue us for using your thing on our little show. But first road win versus the AP Top 25 in a long-ass time. Letting the fans know it.
I saw more than one middle finger in that.
Yeah,
crowd.
dude, the whole thing. Can you imagine? if
Why
you-
would you ever yell, "You're number one"?
Yeah,
You're number
because
one.
he is number one. He just beat them.
Yes,
They're like, yeah, you're
you're
number
number
one,
one.
man.
I wouldn't yell you're number one on the guy who just beat me.
Well, I
I
guess.
would if it didn't get us suspended.
So do you get suspended from college?
No,
What
but
do they
you
do?
might-
Say stay in your
But
dorm?
if you're the Cameron Crazies, you don't want to be asked to not come back in that building.
That's true. That's true.
Because if you do that when you're like 65 and you're an alumni, or
I'm just glad to see it. I'm just glad to see like dude was like, hey, I'm gonna let these guys in there.
No, I like the people telling him he's number one too. Like,
Yeah.
I love it all. I
Dude,
just
the whole
wouldn't because
interaction.
I wouldn't want to be
This is called
because I'd be the guy. He'd be like, oh,
They need to make this a commercial. This is college basketball. Screw you! No, screw you! Just like back in. Dude, it always brings me back to. I was watching this 30 for 30, and I can't remember. I think it was a Christian Leitner, the I Hate Christian Leitner one, and they were like, somebody asked him to explain like what's the biggest difference between the pros and college, and he was like, in the pros they're like cheering for like their team, like they're cheering for the Browns, blah blah blah. In college, they're cheering against you, like they just want you to lose, like they hate you.
But see, he went to Puke, so it doesn't really like
Exactly.
He's got a unique perspective on it. But like, I think it was the Fab Five that was talking about him, and my favorite's when it gets to the point guard, he's just like
a bitch.
he just kills me.
Because they're
every
talking about
time.
Grant Hill. They're
He was probably
a
the
trainer.
first person
Above
they
all.
asked and the last one they put in the video.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is gold. We gotta ask all of them.
It was just like annoying.
Probably wasn't.
Whack,
Probably
stupid. And then it was just like a bitch.
a bitch. He probably said a bitch, and then it went to like Jalen and them like, hey, look, this is what he said, so you gotta say something different so we can lead up to this. And the way it was said, they were just like a bitch.
I can't think of a better word.
You can see
I
that he was
tried.
definitely trying to think of something else.
No, I
to
think he
say.
had that one loaded. I think he was
Yeah.
like, oh, you.
I think.
Boy, do I got some words about him.
I think it was more of like that's the word he used every time he ever described it. And now you put him on camera and he's like, I'm going to think of a better word right in front of this camera.
Bitch.
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's-
And then he starts going back and forth. Do I say it? Do I say it? Fuck it. Bitch. But
I hope we can say it.
Yeah, I hope. If we can't, cancel culture, right?
It's a female dog, and we have also done dog racing events that were sanctioned.
Yeah.
So we here at Rock,
Wait, isn't that bad if it got sanctioned?
sanctioned is in like they understand.
Yeah, like a
this is
sanctioned
happening.
UFC fight is like that's what happened in
The
Vegas.
only time I ever hear sanction is when
Look,
like
if there's
like
dogs,
Michigan gets in trouble and they're like, Michigan's
Nah.
been sanctioned
if
with
there's
this.
Have sanctioned.
dogs, if there's dogs and it's not sanctioned by the community,
Might as well be Michael Vick out there.
you damn.
Whoa.
He fought dogs. He did.
So did he fight dogs or did he have dogs fight each other?
He fought them against each other. Like he's like Dana White, and the dogs are like John Jones and Daniel Cormier.
That might be the most unique way I've ever heard Michael Vick be described. He was like out of Dana White.
He was like Dana White of dog
The
fight. He's
Dana
out there
White
like-
of the dog world. You see him walking around like, Flex, hey, Bubba, Flex.
Because you had a bunch of these other dogfight organizations, like like the WEC,
man,
the Strike
what a
Force,
hot
Pride. Those are like MMA organizations. They were like dogfight organizations like that, and then Michael Vick unified them all and got one big dogfighting organization.
What's your sugar catch for? What we call Mike Vick Dana White? welcome to Dog Island.
Michael Vick would love that place.
Oh man, we're terrible
Although
people.
I love Michael Vick. I think he's a great
Yeah,
athlete.
great guy. Hey,
What are you talking about, Michael Vick? We're talking about the dogs. He goes, oh, I know I've been talking crap, but Michael Vick's the good football player. What the hell? The whole thing in my head is I don't know. What about the dogs that
I don't
we're
know.
talking about?
Did you ever?
Hey,
watch
unlike Dana White, he paid those fighters. He paid his fighters correctly. Because Dana White don't be paying his fighters.
In what matter, Puppy Chow?
Hey, if it makes you feel better, I don't think Michael Vick ever got a dog to fight. He just told the friends, like, you can do that over there.
No, he gave his brother a piece of
Again,
property.
Yeah.
When he sat there, it was like,
And I was like, again, Dana
got
White. He ain't the one
He
fighting.
organized.
He don't have a team. He's just
Dana
saying.
White handpicks every fight. He's not there to being like, hey,
Well, we don't know if Mike didn't or didn't do
Yeah,
that.
like,
So,
he was like, no, ain't nobody fighting dogs.
The
I was like,
NFL. The dude literally
So,
was like, hey,
what was your
dog
pre?
fights are on Saturdays.
Can you imagine if they looked at Mike Vick and was like, what was your pregame routine? He goes, well, I picked the dog fight. And then I would go into.
he goes, Marcus, give me $1,200 a month rent. And Marcus was like, here's $4,800.
Damn.
And he's just like, oh, that's cool,
He
Marcus.
sounded more and more like Dana White the more we talk about
No,
it.
Dana White.
Wait,
The thing is, if you know
did
UFC,
Dana White
Dana
get
White is every minuscule detail.
did
of it.
Dana White look at Michael Vick and be like, man, if he was just standing on top of that and did it with humans, he'd be making millions. Why don't I do this? Man, that might be the first time I've ever heard Michael Vick be referred to as the Dana White of
I
dogs.
don't even know how I got
Yeah,
there.
I don't know. Because we were talking about college
Have you
basketball.
ever had a dog?
Have I ever had a dog? Yeah, I've had plenty of dogs.
Then how the hell can you even say it?
Dude, I have a
I
dog.
just can't.
I think it's funny. Listen. I hate the people that I guess were. I don't know, man. I feel like Mike Vick. Yeah, he went to prison for that, but like, I feel like what he specifically did was not nearly as bad as what the dudes were doing that were actually fighting.
Yeah, like
dog.
the trainers.
Well,
Yeah.
he's Dana White.
Like
then
the
he's
your
damn
your
near-
American top teams and your stuff like that.
Top
like,
25 dog. When this one coming in, Bobo.
You're like
This is the best college basketball talk we've ever had, boss. Yeah. So
Xavier
talking about
beats
dogs.
Georgetown, the Hoyas beats him like. I'm sorry, I'm off of it. I'm off of
They
it. I'm done, I'm
tamed that dog, put it on a leash, beat it 92. But yeah, Xavier did edge out Georgetown 92-91. They came from behind. Swain had the game-winning dunk to seal the deal there. And then Georgetown went down, missed the game-winning layup. And Xavier, they're one of the hotter teams. If you're looking,
What is Xavier's mascot?
not a dog, it's a musketeer.
Yeah, it's just a person.
Yeah,
It just cracks me up.
not Dana White.
Yeah.
Just the person
More like
with the sword.
the trainer.
Musketeer and a Cavalier. Who do you think wins that matchup?
Cavalier.
Me too. So
Musketeer.
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 Because they do travel in threes.
That's true. It would be hard. Do Cavaliers travel in like ships though? Aren't they like
I never
pirates?
heard a shit about
What
a
is
Cavalier
isn't a
before I
Cavalier
moved
like a
out
pirate or what is
here.
technically a
No,
Cavalier?
dude, that's ridiculous. It doesn't even exist.
Cavaliers don't exist.
No.
You're being real Cavalier.
Yeah, that's my thing. Though. When someone says they're being Cavaliers, like,
Are they not
Isn't
existing?
it like they're being like lazy in that? Like isn't that like more of like isn't it like lackadaisical?
I'm
like
pretty-
isn't that?
I'm just kind of not.
I thought it meant
Is
good
it just a
things.
lazy pirate?
I thought Cavalier meant good. So I don't know.
No, the way you just said it was definitely not a
You're
good
being
thing.
real Cavalier right now, guy. Or man, you're being real Cavalier.
Well, it depends. Is the Cavalier like LeBron?
I don't like. Yeah, I just don't like that word anymore. I love you, Chillicothe Cavs.
Like Musketeers?
Yeah,
This is
like-
like a
but-
candy. I got 3 dudes.
It's kind of like whenever like you have like a full name, but you shorten it because you just hate the full name. It's like yeah, Cavalier's terrible. Cavs, I can deal with that.
Yeah, I don't want
Cows,
that
like
either.
the cows, baby cows, calves.
Yeah.
Oh, Andy has an update.
Haughty disdain or super and arrogant or cavalier attitude towards others.
So you're arrogant. Okay.
What a
Or you have
real
disdain for them.
derp.
So you have to sustain being arrogant to be a Cavalier. Oh, here we go. Oh. Marked by or given to offhand and often disdainful dismissal of important
shizzle.
matters. So what did we learn on the Ride the Wave show today? Not about Cavaliers. But yeah, so Xavier has been definitely talked about throughout the college basketball community that they are probably the best team that's right above 500. Like definitely a team that you don't want to see in the tournament.
When they were 500, I heard there was a lot of people going around saying they were the best 500 team, and I 100% agree.
And whenever you're looking at people, because there's a lot of, the Field of 68 and more podcasts like that, they go longer than 25. I think they go to like 35 or 40. And Xavier's been right there around like the 30 to like the 28 mark. So they're just sitting right outside of that top 25. I think they're going to have to go on a big run, though, in the Big East tournament to make the tournament.
Outside of the Big East schedule, I think they have a very hard non-conference schedule. And then the Big East schedule, the Big East is just a grueling conference to
Dude,
be in.
it
You know?
is. You got Marquette, UConn, Creighton, who they play tonight, right?
Yeah, they
play
play. No, they
Creighton
play
tonight.
Creighton tomorrow. I looked at it wrong.
Gotcha.
FanDuel's was let me down. I looked at it wrong.
FanDuel, come on, man. But again, they have 2 more against Creighton. They got 1 more against UConn. That one's at UConn. They have, I think, 1 more against Marquette. I think they already played them once at Marquette. They beat Butler the first time. Got to play Butler again, who is another one of those teams that's right around 500. That's not too bad. I think Xavier's got the pieces to do. I think they got the dogs to do it to make a deep tournament run. The problem is I think they're going to need to make a deep Big East tournament run to get into that tournament, which I think is very possible to do as long as you don't play maybe UConn or Marquette first. I don't know, man. Marquette is not as good as I think people thought they were. I mean, they came into the season, ranked second, I want to say?
I watched them play Purdue early on in the season, and I thought that they did pretty well against them. I think it was in one of the invitational tournaments.
Speaking of Purdue, don't care how good they are in the regular season. They're losing in the second round.
I think they might make it to the 16.
Maybe, but Purdue just
They might.
dude,
be
they
a little
choke
sweet.
every single year. Your bracket gets
Oh
posted
no! I
every year
watched.
because of Purdue.
I have a group chat right now called Mean Green because I got Purdue North Texas tickets. We watched 3 or 4 games in Indianapolis when it was the host city.
Which should be every year.
Oh, it should be like that every year. But we were rooting for Mean Green because I went with a couple of Michigan fans, and they were like, "Yeah, Purdue, Purdue."
Yeah.
That was another one. That was one that we were saying a lot.
The
So
crying Jordan face every
Yeah.
single year on the mascot.
Yeah.
I mean,
so they lost first round to a 13 seed North Texas, and I was ecstatic.
Speaking of another thriller, speaking of another upset, West Virginia beat Kansas, but little controversy there. Did you guys see how that game ended?
I did not.
Okay, so West Virginia got the ball. They're up 1, and they're going down the court. Kansas, we are West Virginia fans here before I say this. Kansas 100% stole the ball from West Virginia, and it got called a foul. And it was very, very clean. That basically lost the game for Kansas. Everybody now thinks that Kansas is not good enough to win 6 to 8 games in a row to win a national title. I don't know why, because just did it last year. Bill Self's still the coach. I don't think just losing to West Virginia makes you immediately take them out of the Final Four.
Teams lose games.
Yeah, that's a great thing about college basketball, man. Like one loss does not define your entire
Chillicothe lost
season.
2 games. They went 25-2 en route to a 2008 state championship.
Exactly.
Sometimes you need losses in seasons to make a run late in the season.
Kind of like we were talking about that the Uniota girls whenever they lose to Ola and Tangi might have been the best thing for them.
Wichita State, they used to always go into the dance undefeated, like 40-0 and stuff like that, or 30-0. It's like
never make it to the
never
Final
making
Four.
it because they just never had that loss to get them through.
Yeah,
like there was a
because
time Florida was the number 1 overall seed. They were like, I think like after like their tournaments and stuff like that, they were like 32-0 going into the actual tournament, and they just ended up making it to like the Elite Eight, and it's like they needed a loss to get them through that whole postseason.
And then you see teams that's kind of like Purdue, where they're hot all year. The last couple weeks of the season, they get cold. They lose the first round of the Big Ten tournament. So then you aren't playing for like a whole month before the tournament, and that's why you go out, because you start, you were hot all year, but then at the end you start getting cold, and at the end this low-level teams start getting hot. And I think the biggest thing with the NCAA tournament, whenever you're the underdog, is you just got to stick around. You really don't even have to be winning, but as long as you can keep within 5, maybe even 7, like that whole first half, you have officially instilled the belief that, like, hey, we are here. Like, we can do this. Like,
remnants of a Zane Trace Uniota game.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with that. The reason why I say that is because like so many times, like through the Middle Ages of my life, I saw like the 1-16s where it's tied at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were so many times that I'm like, man, these guys are like actually. We got it.
You need to stay with it to like the very, very
end.
end.
Athleticism. It's the athleticism. I feel like these people are capable of playing one half of basketball at a very elite level. But the reason why we'll say the Kentuckys or these really good basketball teams, the Kansas, say Kansas this year, the reason why they can do it is because it is purely the entire game.
Yeah.
It's like the one thing I realized is you could have so many good teams, but like the ones that could play full games were the ones that won. But nowadays, I feel like it's a little bit different.
Well, too, you have the NIL and the not just NIL, but like the transfer portal. People staying in school
the
longer.
The all-around shooting's better.
Yeah,
so Roberts beats Ohio State because they just shot 3-pointers out of the gym as a 15 seed.
Yeah,
beat Florida
like,
the
that would have
same way.
never happened before.
Right, and I feel like too back in the day you don't have as many, because I feel like nowadays you're seeing a lot more of the lower seeds winning the tournament. It's because I feel like the gap between the top teams and the bottom teams is a lot smaller.
And all the weird stuff I just said was to get to that. It's like it wasn't the same before. The 1-16, it was like these people didn't have enough stamina to keep up. And nowadays, a 1-16, it's like these dudes are just as high athletes. I don't want to say that, but pretty close. You know, they're in the gym.
Well, we were talking about, or you had mentioned the Field of 68 podcast, or was it the Field of 64 podcast?
I think it was 68.
68, okay. But they had a coach on, I think it was Auburn's coach, which they're ranked 8th right now.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, so they had him on, and he was talking about how, like, the NIL is great for players, but the transfer portal is something they need to figure out, how it's kind of ruining basketball. It's a double-edged sword, because I think it can hurt college basketball, but it's also, it can help like the lower level.
Here's where I think it hurts.
You're sign a 2-year deal.
Yeah, so that's it, because that's what he was saying. It can't be like the going's tough right now, let me leave, because it does teach kids to flee.
Basketball, not football.
Well, and here's one more thing too.
Football, you should be able to transfer whenever you want. That's a nasty sport, and if you feel like you can go somewhere else and better yourself, do it. But basketball, I feel like you should have to do 2 years.
Well, and here's another thing too is like
it affects the team.
It's free agency, but like no rules to it. You know, it's almost like baseball free agency, where it's just like, dude, like there's no salary cap. So that's why the Yankees were so good back in the day, because they just had the money. Yep. So they were just paying people. That's why I think you're going to start seeing now is like, okay, Ohio State, I have all this money. I just lost. Saban just left. Paying for those Bama players, paying for these top recruits, to where it's not.
There definitely needs to be a limit on NIL money. Like every school needs to have access to the same money.
We took one of their 5-star
No, you took their 5-star quarterback, and then I think like a safety and like a cornerback or something transferred there too from Alabama, and a center. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's officially like amateur sports. at this point. Like it's semi-pro.
Yeah, it's no longer.
I do think that they got to figure out what
amateur.
Chip
I think
Kelly
that's what it was.
Basketball-
Amateur was before they were paid. Now it's semi-pro.
Yeah.
It's no
Basketball,
longer.
there's less positions, less overall. I don't want to say overall talent, less real star talent. So it's just a little bit different. That's why I like the 2-year deal for basketball and football. Football, they should be able to do whatever they want. They abuse their bodies. They can I think. You know, to give a little is a lot in football. If you're the backup guy and you're playing on special teams, like you're eating a lot of hits, you're doing a lot of dirty work. Whereas basketball, it's not the case, and you have to build a team. And I feel like, you know, if you're going to sign with my roster, I feel like you should have to play 2 years, so I could at least possibly convince you to stay there and stop this craziness, man.
Yeah.
Like something's got
that's the thing. Whenever you're going in every single year, you can't build. Like it's.
Dude,
Like-
if you got a guy that's like a sick 3-point shooter and he's sitting on your team and he's at Marshall,
Well, it's hard to relate to the team, man. Whenever you like every single year, like with college, like whenever I was a kid, like I felt like with Notre Dame, whenever they were good, like good players, I felt like I didn't really ever know them until like their second year there. Like the first year, I was kind of just figuring out who the hell they are. Are they good? Blah blah. Then they come back, and then the year or two after that, like I would be. You know, be able to connect with them a little bit. Now it's like, yeah, you come for 1 year, but then you suck, then you leave. Then now I have this other kid. The whole season, I'm just trying to figure out who the hell is this guy. You figure out who they are, you finally start to like him. Then they're like, well, I like this place either. Leave. Like, the continuity, I think, is the best thing for sports.
I think it's easier in football than basketball. Would you say that with a 5-man roster and a
Easier in
offense,
football, what, to relate to the players?
You need continuity.
Oh,
more
no,
in
yeah,
basketball
100%.
than
My thing is, like,
football.
well,
So that's why that
I think
2-year
if
mark I think would be nice.
I think that if it was like if the transfer portal is what it is now, back like a couple of years ago, we may not Joe Burrow may not be what he is because he wouldn't have developed so much at Ohio State before he left. Because he went to Ohio State
Yeah.
for 4 years before he went.
And people
3
forget
years.
he won the title with LSU his second year there.
Yeah,
Not
his
his
second-
first,
yeah,
his
exactly.
second
So
year.
he
Let's
left,
also
so, like-
remember that he broke his hand.
No, he did. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
It's like
one
everybody
thing, yeah.
acts like we just shunned him. No, he
it's like-
broke his hand.
And it's not even like
In the
if he
Scarlet
didn't
and Gray
win,
game.
if he didn't break his hand and he still didn't, and he got beat out for the
Yeah,
spot. That's
no.
not shunning him. I'm just saying like he developed a lot there. Like that's
Yeah.
like without his time at Ohio State, would he have been as good? Who knows? Because he might have been like, oh, I didn't get the spot when I thought I was going to. Let me leave.
You know what's
earlier.
wild? The one
Anytime something's a success, I don't even care. Like if something happened and I'm like, oh, I made this and I did this. If somebody's like, do you want to change any of that to make it better? I'm like, no, I don't care. I got here.
The
You know
craziest
what I
thing about Joe Burrow going to LSU that I've ever seen is that he stopped Jamar Chase from going to Kansas. Jamar Chase, could you imagine Jamar Chase? Like, how much different do you think his career is if he goes to Kansas? Obviously, he's not going to win a national title, which means I don't think that he's the top 5 pick? Is that when you guys took him, Andy? Was 5? So you're probably not a top 5 pick. You aren't with Joe Burrow. Like, I'm not sitting here saying Joe Burrow is the reason that Jamar Chase is where he's at. But Joe Burrow says, hey, don't go to Kansas, come to LSU. Kansas sucked those 2 years. LSU wins the national title. Joe Burrow goes to the NFL. Jamar Chase sits out a year. Joe Burrow goes to the Bengals. Bengals sitting at 5. I don't want to say the Bengals needed a wide receiver. They had C. Higgins. They had Boyd. They probably needed some linemen. But
They definitely needed a lineman.
But
you can't
Jamar
really-
Chase,
it was the chemistry. You couldn't pass up
that's
on
what
it.
I'm
You
saying.
really
Not just
couldn't.
that he's an absolute beast, because I think he would have been a beast in the NFL anyways. I
Do you
think
know who the pick was? Penny Sewell. An absolute dog for the Lions.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they regret it. I'm just saying the lineman that they could
Well,
have had is Penny Sewell, who is literally making plays.
Was that guy tackle for
Oregon.
Louisville?
Oregon.
Okay, I'm thinking of a few years before.
Yeah.
That's Becton.
Okay, yeah, and
Yeah.
he was because I thought he was like 3rd off
Yeah.
the board, and I was like, well, I don't think they would have had him at 5. But yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
It was Penny Sewell. That
Well,
was
I think
it.
like Jamar might go to like Jacksonville or
Yeah, just one like that's the thing. Like that's
somewhere that's
just
was
something
terrible.
crazy.
Yeah.
Just
Giants.
how something minuscule could change it. Like that's what I'm saying. Like maybe the transfer portal is in effect. The first year Joe doesn't get it. He's like, you know what? Let me go to a different school, and he just doesn't develop quite
Yeah.
like he did at Ohio State.
And I
because
wanna know
Ohio
what
State
coaches-
they're great.
What coaches
Phenomenal.
were looking at Jamar Chase in high school like, yeah, we don't need him. For him
Idiots.
to be like, yeah, I guess I'll just go to Kansas. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. But at the same time, because again, we don't know everything. Was Jamar Chase as electric until he got to LSU? You're on Justin Jefferson, the greatest offense in possibly college football history. Does that make you be like, dude, I got to elevate my game? Like, maybe he wasn't as good as he was then until he got to LSU just because of the talent around.
You can definitely say it's the greatest offense in SEC history. 60
100%.
touchdown passes from a quarterback is the most by a quarterback in SEC
was
history.
absolutely filthy, too. And
Yeah.
it
It
was
was.
the same thing with Patrick Stingley, where, like, he comes in, he sits out for the year, but he was an absolute dog during the bowl year. Like, I felt like everything that was going down in LSU right then was just like, hey, you really nasty with it? Get here right now.
You could almost say that the LSU title team is almost a replica of the Lions team now, because the Joe Burrow's first year there, I think they came out and beat Miami. They came out and beat Miami. Then I think they lost to Florida, right?
They did.
Yeah, and
That was Joe's first loss in college.
yeah, and they just weren't good like that first half of the year. Like they didn't have just one win. I think they had a few, but then that second half of his first year there, like something clicked, and they were just on a whole other level.
There was a hit he took against UCF.
UCF, in the bowl game.
In a bowl game, and it was people kept saying like, "This is when he
Joe-
changed." It's like I think he changed before then. You know,
Yeah.
It was then, and then he had a real good connection with the head guy in the quarterback room. And
Brady.
Yeah,
Joe Brady, I think what his name was.
Sean.
Sean Brady.
Yeah. I think he followed him to the NFL as well, but like they were like real tight, and it helped develop Joe a little bit more. So I feel like Ohio State helped develop him, and he learned a lot of maturity in decision making at LSU because of his quarterback coach
Right.
there.
It kind of goes back to what Shu said, man. It's all about relationships.
It is all about relationships.
110%
Dude,
about relationships.
You know, we can talk about development. It makes it really easy to develop.
when you're just a stud.
when that receiving core is there.
Yeah.
It's like, I got this.
And let's not forget they had
But how-
Thaddeus Moss, Randy Moss's son,
And
as a
Yeah.
tight
how
end.
many
No,
times they
yeah.
roll out and be like, I got this, dude. I can make anybody look good. But
Good
how
call out on
nice
Thaddeus
would it be
Moss.
to be like,
Yeah.
I got this. Let me show
I was
these
bummed when he
people
didn't do
what I
anything
got."
for the Redskins.
Dude,
It was the
I
Redskins
was
at that
sup-
time.
I was
Come
surprised.
for me.
I was surprised that he did not do anything in the NFL.
Yeah, that's.
Like,
yeah.
I thought, like, just because his name was Moss, he'd at least get a pretty decent shot. Never did.
I think a lot of times what happens is it's kind of like you see it a lot with UFC fighters. They get the paycheck. They get like, you know, they've had this fight in them. They've had to fight for everything in their life. You know, Randy coming from what he did, Rand University had to fight for everything in his life. Now he's a millionaire in the NFL. His son has been a millionaire his whole life.
He
So
doesn't-
he's like, I'm athletic, but I don't have the dog in
grind.
me to
Yeah.
fight for it because I don't have
Hey.
that fight in my, you know.
Randy's a good guy. He'll get you where you need to go.
Hello.
Randy's a great guy.
Hello.
Randy's probably one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I know him pretty personally.
Okay.
See him every day at work.
heard you met him on the cruise, and he saved you from having an awful cruise.
He did, man. Randy was there for my cruise, saved my life. Okay,
We kept Tony a little bit too long.
we did, but time to go be a dad, save some lives.
Love you, Tony.
Love you, Tone. But yeah, Randy, good guy. Saved me on my cruise. Made me feel not so lonely. Was there when I needed him. He always knew how to get me hungry. Always knew when it was time
So
to eat.
86 to draft.
Yeah, 86.
86
draft.
to draft. We'll stick with the
Yeah,
would you rather's.
But yeah, one more thing before we get out of college basketball, even though we kind of already did get out of college basketball.
We've been talking about it forever.
Cincinnati playing at Kansas tonight. First time part of
got
the Big
Kansas
12.
for this
Kansas
one.
is going to blow them the fuck out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
UNC, Kansas, and then one other person in my parlay. I need them all to win.
Yeah, there's only one good basketball team in Cincinnati, and that is the Musketeers. Going on to the NBA, don't really have anything to say here other than it's trade deadline time. Adam, I've seen your Knicks still in the news a little bit after getting that OG.
The craziest thing was I'm still getting used to seeing RJ Barrett on the Raptors.
Yeah,
That's
man.
crazy. I wouldn't have did it, but I mean, I guess
I think he was the only reason that worked. I feel like the Knicks, like looking at what else they sent with RJ, I think they're trying to like send that package and flip anyone else in there other than RJ. And the Raptors like, no, dude, this is RJ.
I wouldn't have got rid of him though. But like
Yeah.
maybe it's a money thing. They're looking for the future. But I just don't think you're ready to give up on this season. You know? I
Yeah.
mean,
Now Brown, he's going to. Well, he's been linked to the Lakers a lot from the Raptors. So it looks like Raptors are in complete sell mode. They send Pascal over to Indiana. Indiana,
I hated that we got rid of Toppin last year.
yeah.
Like that drove me nuts.
Well, could get him back because it looks like Indiana's trying to shop Obi Toppin. So maybe bring him back.
Yeah,
But I don't know. Trade deadline, man, honestly, in the NFL, I think is one of the most exciting times in
NBA?
sports. What did I say, NFL?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the NBA, trade deadline is one of the most exciting times in sports. That minus, dude, NBA free agency. I don't know what NBA did to make free agency feel like a game show, but it's amazing.
Oh, no, it was one man that made the NBA feel like a game
David
show.
Stern.
No.
Good.
He came out and he said, I think I'm going to take my talents.
To South Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And then-
basically,
and then
that
when he-
is
and then
what
when
free
he
agency.
showed up in South Beach, he said, not one,
Not
two, not three, all the way up to like 10. It was like, well, you won 2. So, like, yes, 2.
Yes. Not one. Not two.
Not 1, not 3, but 2.
Not one. That would be. What would be crazy if he's like, not one.
They should remake it. They should him
And
Dwayne
just take the
Chris
2 out. Just not 1, not 3, not 4, not 5.
get to the end, but 2
championships. Yeah, I don't think the Lakers have a shot. I kind of hope. I don't know what LeBron's going to do, man. I think this is what's going to happen. I think a team is going
Can't leave
to.
without the car keys.
It would be hard to leave that way. I think one team is going to draft Bronny just so LeBron will go there. LeBron might go there to play with his son.
I think Memphis is going to trade up for it.
Sorry, I'm just kind of playing in my head. Like,
Except for Memphis. There was one team that he said. I'm pretty sure it's Memphis. I might be
you
wrong.
know what
but
kind of pisses me
there's
off
one
about
team
that?
he said he was like, I wouldn't do it if they draft him. And I was like, well, they're going to draft him. They're going to trade up, just get you out the league.
You know what pisses me off about that a little bit?
What's that?
That shouldn't be the one team.
Yeah,
It should be the Celtics.
yeah.
Like, he has hated the Celtics his entire Cleveland, Miami, back to Cleveland,
you don't even know.
Lakers.
Like I said this as a joke, and I got into like a kind of heated debate with one of my friends. Shout out Goose.
The goose is loose.
Yeah, about this. I said I was jokingly saying like Rondo should give up his championship.
Yeah.
One of them. He won it. The Celtics and Lakers both have 17 championships. He won the 17th with the Celtics and the 17th with the Lakers. It was like, well, you should have to give one of those up.
Could you imagine, like, let me think. Okay, let's go Ty Lawson. I think he was the last, like, big point guard to win a college championship for North Carolina. Imagine he wins that 06, 07. I'm going to Duke.
Yeah, just transfer.
Like,
yeah.
that just doesn't happen in the college sports. Like, that's why I feel like it's so much more love than professional is because there's real hatred there. Like,
Yeah,
there's
like,
real rivalry.
you hate your rivalries. You hate them. Like back in the day, like rivalries used to mean something in professional sports. They do not now.
No.
Like everybody's always like, and I mean,
Not even
yeah,
Yankees, Red Sox,
Yeah,
dude.
it's. I guess everybody they're like, hey, it's us versus the corporation. You know, we're
Yeah.
trying to get us paid and to stay safe. It's dangerous out here. So I understand that, especially from like the NFL
But here's
standpoint.
the thing, man.
NBA should be like, you should die before you take those Celtic greens after being a Laker.
My
you
thought,
know?
my look on it is like, if you want more money, like you need to obviously better the product, and I think you guys hating each other is better than you guys like.
Yeah,
dude,
you said North Carolina Duke. I think I'll go you even one more. It's like if Troy Smith would have been like, oh, let me beat Michigan, and then the next year go over there, or Denard Robinson, let me play as Michigan, and then go over there and play for Ohio State. It'd be yeah, exactly. Like it's
exactly.
Just, it makes that sounds wrong.
Exactly.
Because it is wrong.
Dude, but I just I can't get over it. I think rivalries are the greatest thing in sport. But here I gotta talk about it. I've hated this forever, dude. The jersey swaps are so freaking stupid. I don't like it's the dumbest thing ever for the team that just lost. I can't imagine they're getting my ass kicked, and then the team that just beat me, one of their best players, I don't care if you're my friend or not, come up and be like, hey, man, you want my jersey? No!
Yeah.
Hey, do you want memory of the time I kicked your ass? Like, no, I don't.
One
I
of
don't
my
want
favorite
that.
jersey swap moments is the guy was like, hey, jersey swap, and it was like a special jersey. He was like, nah, dude, not this one. Like, I'll send you one, but not this one.
I'll send you a
but
different
not
one.
this one. Like that was, I was like, oh, gosh, that one sucks
It's
so
like,
bad.
Like, could you imagine, like, Peyton Manning, like, whenever he broke the most touchdowns thrown in a single season, that game, he's just like, yeah, man, have this jersey. Like, that jersey's worth millions. Like, it's insane. Well, I think that's
Would you rather's?
Oh, would you rather? I don't have any. Do you?
Would you rather end the show now or end it
I think we should go with now. I think it's time to eat some pizza. It was a good show.
I'd rather end it now.
We want to give Coach Shu some thanks for coming in and spreading some knowledge on
Put
us.
him in the hall.
Put him in the
mean,
hall.
Jesus, get him in the damn hall.
Put him in the hall.
He's lived in the convo for this entire coaching career. Put him in the hall. He
we-
deserves it.
We also want to give a shout out to Coach Hoops. Thank you for coming on. 250 wins and counting. Make sure that you get out to I guess tonight. To the Uniola Zane Trace game. It's going to be a classic. We won't be live streaming. I think we're going to make a blog of it, though. But you can definitely find it on Litter
It's
Media.
just such a big game. We want to be a part of it as opposed to just being like a caller of
Yeah.
it. And, I feel like
And
it's much more. We need
still-
to watch it.
Yeah, we'll
Boots
still
on
be
the
able to bring
ground.
hype tapes to you and stuff. You can watch on Litter Media, and you can listen to on WKKJ. That's it. That's the only places that you need to go to watch or listen to those things. And we will see you later. And watch us for our socials because we'll be somewhere this week. Peace out, Girl Scout.